What's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing really well. Welcome to this week's episode of Space News. I'm your host, Jesse Lindbeck, and I can't wait to tell you all about the fun and fascinating things that happened this past week in space. So first up, it's going to be the Chinese Tianwen-1 mission. Let's go. Okay, so Tianwen-1 is an interplanetary mission by the Chinese National Space Administration to send a robotic spacecraft to Mars, consisting of an orbiter, deployable camera, lander, and the Chuhrong rover, named for the ancient Chinese fire god in old mythology. So back in July of 2020, the CNSA launched the spacecraft on a path to Mars around the same time as NASA launched their rover, Perseverance. Both arrived around the same time this past February, but Perseverance went down to the surface of the red planet, while the appropriately named orbiter stayed in orbit, checking out different landing sites. Now, last week, it made a successful soft landing on the surface of Mars, making China the third country to achieve a soft landing on the red planet after the Soviet Union and the United States. This also makes China the second nation after the US to land and deploy a rover on the Martian surface, as well as the first nation to orbit, land, and release a rover during its first mission to Mars. What an accomplishment. Now, the rover isn't as technically sophisticated as Perseverance is, but it's still a huge accomplishment and a wonderful mission. I can't wait to see what the CNSA is going to get from the results of this. It's going to be there checking out the atmosphere of Mars, taking soil samples, taking pictures, and doing all sorts of really cool things. So that's going to be really exciting to watch. Moving on. All right, so next up is the OSIRIS REx mission from NASA. They launched back in 2016. It did something pretty cool a couple of weeks ago. Now, let's start off with what it means. OSIRIS REx is an acronym for Origins, Spectral Interpretation, Resource Identification, and Security Regolith Explorer. Now, what is OSIRIS REx? OSIRIS REx is a robotic spacecraft that traveled to a near-Earth asteroid named Bennu. Now, near Earth meaning more than 200 million miles away, back in September of 2016. It arrived in December of 2018, successfully landed and collected some samples from the surface of the asteroid in October of 2020, and a few weeks ago, it started its journey back home, which is scheduled to be September 2023. Now, this little robotic spacecraft is going to be bringing these little samples from the asteroid back to Earth for study, and it will be the first time we have ever collected and analyzed samples from a near-Earth asteroid, which is estimated to be about 4.5 billion years old. All right, next up is a launch earlier this week from the United Launch Alliance. So this past Tuesday, ULA launched an Atlas V rocket carrying a US Space Force missile warning satellite called SBIRS GEO-5, the fifth of the space-based infrared system network of satellites that will allow the US to detect ballistic missile launches anywhere on the globe. So what all that means is that it's the fifth of probably a few more, I'm not sure how many more, but it's the fifth satellite that's going up there, part of the US Air Force defense system that's going to help detect ballistic missile launches from anywhere on the globe. And that's really cool. That's good news for us up here in Canada. Being allies with the US, it's going to be really beneficial for us and all of the United States as allies. So that's really exciting. Next up. Okay, lastly, I'm going to leave you with a site from the SpaceX South Launch Facility in southern Texas called Starbase. Now, the CEO of SpaceX, Elon Musk, has always stated that he wants to change the name of the village that this is located in from Boca Chica Village to Starbase. And last week, the official Starbase sign went up. And so this is where they do a lot of the tests, actually all of the tests for the new Starship models. So they're going to be testing Starships at an actual Starbase. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if he's actually going to get away with changing the name of the village, or the community rather, in southern Texas to Starbase, but it's a cool step. And even if he changes the test site itself to Starbase, that's still pretty cool. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're up to date. I mean, there's so many more things happening, but I like to keep this short and sweet and just list off the most exciting things. So stay tuned for next week's episode. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. See ya.